Happy Thursday.
I love it. Happy Thursday. I realized I didn't hit the go live button until we were wrapping up that countdown. So, surprise, here we are. Oh my goodness. Happy Thursday. This is the WOW podcast, WOWW, Wendy's on Wellness Wednesday. However, with our rigid flexibility, here we are on Thursday. We did not have the best day for it yesterday. Partially with me, for once in my life, I went back to bed because of the rain and I haven't been sleeping well lately. And I messaged Wendy at 8:15 and I was like, sister, it ain't happening.
And I was like, you know what? I have jam-packed my day so much. I have no flexibility room.
So today it was, and this worked out perfect. So how are you doing? Well, first of all, let me tell everybody, I'm Dr. Wendy Sue Massey, girl. Apparently my no sleep is really hitting me. Dr. Wendy Sue Massey. I'm a alternative medical practitioner, author, owner of Freedom Holistic Wellness, co-owner with my husband of Grace and Grove Homestead, wife, mom, Gigi, lover of Jesus, lover of all things natural. And this is my amazing soul twin, Wendy Flournoy.
Hey guys, Wendy Flournoy, certified hypnotherapist, herbalist, forager, educator, lover of Jesus, wife, mom, Gigi of 6, lover of all things non-toxic and natural, God-given.
Amen, sister. So how has your week been?
Crazy.
Just like I think it's our standard answer every week.
I have, it has rained so much. So much. So yeah, everything's going crazy, like a jungle, trying to keep up, and you know how it is.
Yes.
How about you? How's the big projects going?
Oh my word. So since we last talked last week, I know I posted it for the world, my 17-hour nightmare with that wall unit for my mom. What? That was insane.
I was impressed.
That was insane. And it was funny because it wasn't without incident. I literally opened up. So you know how Wendy's been here. So the basement, the window well windows in the basement that they don't have screens and I can just kind of reach out into the yard. We should probably get screens, but anyway, they don't have them right now. And Matthew was out there working and I was trying to be tough girl, trying to do this all on my own. And I got 3 sections done and I went to go move it and stand it up so that I could figure out which way I needed to lay it.
Yeah.
In the process of me trying to stand it up, everything collapsed and shattered. And this was like, for this section had probably taken me about 4 hours.
Oh my goodness.
I was done. I was such a wreck. And I opened up.
I would have been throwing it in the burn. I would have been throwing the burn pile.
We already had half of it attached to the wall. Well, I'd say just under, probably about 40% of it attached to the wall. This was the bigger section though. And I opened up that window and Matthew took one look at me and he could tell by the look on my face. And all of a sudden I was like,
that's devastating when you get to that point. So obviously you were able to recover and nothing was detrimental that you couldn't put it back together.
Yeah. He came in with a nailer and was able to reinforce it all and nail it all together. It took him about 20 minutes. I was like,
okay,
thank God for you, because I could have never used the same hardware. It had all busted out.
Yeah.
It was like, so anyway, he was able to fix it. And then from there, I was able to finish it. But it was a 17-hour project. And I'm telling you, girl, the next time I say, oh, I think I'm going to call, order something from Wayfair. Remind me that it is a ridiculous project and going to be a major lesson in patience disguised as furniture. There is absolutely zero desire to ever go through that again. And I still have 2 more things to put together. I will tell you, it's so funny. Swing and Kristen were over, some of our dearest friends. They were over on Sunday. Swing didn't even ask me a question. He knew I had 3 more cabinets put together, none as big as that.
Right.
2 for our bathroom and 1 for our garage that I'm going to put all our cleaners in. And he comes in here, all of a sudden I see him pulling out his reading glasses and he's got instructions and he put together one of my whole cabinets on Sunday.
Nice.
Cooking and doing
Early swing.
That's one of my 3 left, thank God. So, but yeah, that was a nightmare. But my mama got here on Saturday. We're in a bit of a transition that's not the most comfortable, primarily because we weren't physically ready for her, but I didn't dare push her back because she's been so excited about the move. So we've got her upstairs. I'm constantly a nervous wreck about our stairwell because her eyesight is so poor. We have all this wood and I don't think the way her vision is that she would be able to delineate the difference between the wood near the steps and the wood on the steps. So I'm so afraid of her falling down those steps. So I've got chairs blocking it, like keep out, you
need a baby gate.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking I'm going to have to do. But hopefully it's not going to be long. I'm praying it's done by this weekend. But Bill just has to finish her bathroom downstairs and at least get her a toilet and a sink. If we get that far, I can. Matthew's been out here for 3 weeks building this ramp for her. It's beautiful. Today's the last day. He'll have it all done. It's absolutely gorgeous. And so, when she needs a shower before her shower's done downstairs, I can get her up here. Not a big deal. But she needs a toilet and a sink downstairs. And so we're ready to get her settled because with her dementia, it's very frustrating for her because she can't find any of her stuff. And it's just, we got to get her situated.
Yeah, because the more familiar she is with things, the better, the calmer she'll be.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But it'll all be wonderful. I keep thanking God for every struggle and every bump and every, it's strengthening I've
been doing a lot of praising in the storm this week.
Oh, girl, have I ever. Yes. As a matter of fact, I used those very words to my mama today and she was all upset about something. And mornings are really hard for her because, it's almost like, 51st dates, you start back over, she's not to that degree, but it's enough that it's all the same frustrations we had yesterday morning, we're having again each morning. And it's going to be that way until we get her situated. So, but yeah, I just told her, I said, Mommy, let's just praise him in the storm. I said exactly that to her. I said, we're going to get there. It's fine. He's making
And you know what? When you make the choice to do that, your whole perspective and attitude changes instantly in that moment.
100%. It is a choice. It is a choice. It is so easy to let the weight of the world, the weight of your situation, the weight of your health, the weight of everything just absolutely crush you.
Yep.
You can let those weights keep piling on and you'll crush underneath them, or you can celebrate them all.
That's
right.
right.
I know that sounds crazy, but it's so true. It is a choice. There is nothing that we endure that if we don't put our, I just see every opportunity now. And I didn't always used to be this way. I've always
Me either, because a lot of times in the past I would choose to remain angry because I wanted to be angry and I wanted to be mad. Yeah. I don't want that anymore.
No,
I make a different choice. Yeah.
I mean, it just it hurts our spirit. It crushes our spirit. And not only that, it does it to everybody around you. Mm-hmm. It's like it's
a domino effect for sure.
You can literally cut the stress and the tension with a knife when you've got one person, much less if you've got 2 or 3 people around you that are all like that. And it's just like, whoo, I can tell you praise music on repeat has been. I was just like, going to keep on praising.
That's right. That's right. No matter what.
But what a beautiful thing when you recognize that you can surrender it all to him. You can rest in him, and that he can get you through all these things. And that there's a lesson to be learned in everything you do, everything you do. And so I just,
and when you make that choice to give it to God and let him handle it, that sense of peace that you gain from that is priceless.
Yeah.
I have a dear friend going through some major health things, and of course she's scared. Of But
course.
she made me hopeful because of the peace she has with God.
What a blessing. I know you were telling me about that beforehand, and it just that just filled my heart up. It's like with all the,
because we can all agree that cancer sucks. We can all agree. We all know somebody. But when someone's going through a battle like that and they have peace, man,
it is.
That's only God.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, I've shared the story before about Bill. That was the first that made our cancer journey with him so amazing, because you got this big old tough gruff guy who's new to being a Christian, who will kick and scream before he changes anything, but then the day he gets his cancer diagnosis, he goes on a drive and does this whole windshield prayer he tells me about later. And he told me, he said, I just told him, I can't do this. Right. You're going to have to. You're going to have to take this, because I got nothing. I got nothing for this. And I've never seen that man so peaceful. He gets high strung. I've never seen this man so peaceful as he was when he was going through his cancer battle, because he just rested in knowing that God had him. And that's a powerful thing.
It is very powerful.
Yeah.
Something I wish everyone would seek out.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something that if you've never experienced it, you can't possibly understand. You probably think we're crazy, and that's okay. Yeah. But when you finally put your trust in him, I mean, there's no words, and you're just going to want to shout it from the rooftops like we do. It's so incredible. But I mean, I also want anybody who's new to that, or if you aren't new to that and you're new to understanding how to, surrender whatever situation to him, please know you might have to surrender 25 times a day.
I used to do the balloon thing. Give it to God and pull it back.
Yes.
God and pull it back. Girl, he's taking too long. Let me. I know I can do this.
Oh. It's so true. I mean, it's like we are not perfect, and all you got to do, try, stay in his word, blast that praise music, do whatever you got to do. I love, there's a song out now. Gosh, I can't remember her name who sings it. I can picture her. I can picture the video. She's cute as a button. And it's that Psalm 23. Oh, yeah. And she says, repeat it until you believe it.
Yep.
I love that line, because how many times do you, say a prayer or you quote some scripture and you want to believe it, but you're like, Lord, help me in my unbelief. It's
because you may be in a moment of doubt yourself, where you're questioning, you're doubting, and he knows it. That's when you need to ask for it the most.
Yeah. And he's going to love you through it. I mean,
that's right. He will show you miraculous things.
Yeah. Yeah. I went through a period in my walk years ago when I used to think if I doubted, I mean, it was like, I better step away from everybody, because I was going to get struck with lightning, like it was going to be this whole, wrath thing. And part of that is the type of church I went to at one point. And it was, all fire and brimstone, and the, you got to get it right or else, right. And it's like, right. There is no getting it right. He did everything for us.
That's right.
It's
done.
He's already done the work. Now, because we're so grateful that he did the work, because we're so grateful that we recognize we have a need for a savior and that he is it.
Yeah.
That's why we want to change. That's why we want to do more. That's why we want to be
Was it yesterday your post on grace and people's journeys? That was beautiful.
Thank you.
And so perfect, because everyone's at their own stage of things, and you don't compare and you don't judge. You let people take the walk that they're supposed to take and watch the growth.
Yeah.
If you have any doubt, watch the growth of people. you know?
I mean, I can't stand when people look at somebody else's walk and say that they're not worthy or they're not doing it right.
No.
That's what the gospel's all about. None of us are. I mean, look at those 12 broken fishermen and tax collectors and, zealots and all that. I mean, it's like he did not pick doctors, lawyers, priests. He did not pick people that were
he picked the bottom of the barrels.
Yes. He picked the ones that were probably cussing when those fish didn't come in. He picked the ones that were, running around and going crazy. I mean, he intentionally did that because what a beautiful picture of how nobody is out of his reach.
That's right.
I love the story of the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman. And she's like, well, let me go talk to my husband. And he says, you don't have a husband. And she said, well, you must be some sort of prophet. And he's telling her, no, you had five husbands and it's not the one you're living with now. And it's like, but he showed her so much love. And he's like, that doesn't change the fact that I'm here to love you and to show you that you need me to be your savior.
No matter what you've done, no matter what's happened to you, no matter where you're at, there's nowhere that you can go that he won't pull you out of.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah. And and the one line that I did say in there about, if you're on chapter 30, don't judge somebody who's at chapter 3. I'm going to tell you might go back and forth. My sweet friend Lisa, she said, well, I happen to go back to chapter 3 a lot. I told her, I said, heck, I've gone back to the prologue. I can't tell you how many times, it's like I rededicated 7 years ago and thank God I did. And I've been really trying, but I still haven't gotten it right. We never will. Never will.
The goal is to make progress, not perfection. We'll never be perfect.
No, we are
not on this earth.
Nope. Just give me the strength to get us through there. And the beautiful thing is that the more you learn about him, the more you get in his word, the more, and I'm not talking, you don't have to become a biblical scholar.
No.
Y'all pick a couple verses, get on YouVersion, find out what that one verse of the day is for you today. And woo, today's is one of my memory verses. And it hit me like a ton of bricks because I wake up in the middle of the night with the anxiety over just life. And it was Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, verses 5 and 6. And it's trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will make your paths straight. Girl, how many times do I say, Lord, will you please give me a diagram? Tell me what I need to do step by step. Tell Wendy what she needs to do because I don't know. I wake up and I'm like, I'm lost. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Slow down, read those verses, and just trust. That's all he tells us to do is trust.
Because a lot of times I've found that if I remain still long enough, he'll give me the answer.
He sure will.
But if I'm running around like crazy and I'm trying to do it all and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and I'm not trusting him at all. I'm trying to take control. Right. I'm trying to take control over it. But if I slow down enough to hear him, he'll give me the answer.
And we're the type of women that we want to do it all. We
want to go. We want to go.
I can't tell you how many times I've had these conversations with him and I'm just like, look, Lord, I'm not afraid of some hard work. So if you just tell me what I'm supposed to do, just point me in the right direction, boom, I'm at it. Just bring it on. And
I think a lot of time mine and your lesson is patience built in always.
I'm telling you, that's what all this, I just told this to Matthew. I said, I could summarize every problem I have ever had in my life with one phrase or one word: impatience. 100%, all the way down to, well, I won't even go there, but there's big decisions I made in my life that I wouldn't have made if I would have just trusted that he
Yep.
had it,
Same.
slowed down, and
Yep.
just let him do his work.
Yep.
And I'm like, nope.
I got this. I got this.
And it always leads to a mess every stinking time. Finally, at 51 years old, I can sit here and tell you, oh, the one, common factor in every poor decision I've made in my life, impatience. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Same.
So anyway, yeah.
God's still working on us.
I hope he does. Well, I plan on letting him work on me till the day I cross into.
Absolutely.
I'm a work in progress. I always say I lost a lot of years of doing dumb stuff, so I'm all in now. Show me everything. I'll keep going. Give me 120 years, and I'm gonna keep working at it. Till
That's
then.
right. That's right. I mean, everything's been in His timing and lessons learned.
Yeah.
To bring us right where we are today, doing what we're doing.
Right. That's right. Speaking of what we're doing, we had 2 more plants that we wanted to cover, and then we've got a new topic to talk about after.
That's right. I did want to share, you guys, last week I shared the fermented vegetables.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I went ahead and got some organic cabbage and started my sauerkraut.
Oh, that is beautiful. Now, how long does the sauerkraut take?
About 7 days.
That's not bad.
Yeah, and I mean, you can slow it down if you want by putting it in the refrigerator, but I will usually leave it out on the counter 7 to 9 days. I'll check it. If it's not strong enough, I'll leave it sitting. But these things are amazing.
I've got to get me some. I don't have those yet.
The top has a little hole in it. You put a little water in here, and what it does is it releases the gas bubbles, and they just bubble out. So you don't have to worry about burping it or anything. And on the top there, that's just a whole cabbage leaf.
Okay.
To hold everything under the brine. Salt and distilled water. That's it.
Did you use the weights? You got me those weights.
Yes, I have a weight down. I put the cabbage sleeve in there, and then I have a weight in the middle of the cabbage leaf. You can't really see it, but
yeah, I figured you did.
The goal is to keep all of this under the liquid.
That's amazing. And so all you do is water and cabbage and salt?
Yes.
How much salt do you use per cabbage?
It was like 2 tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of salt for this ended up being right at 1 head of cabbage.
Oh, wow.
I cut up 2 because we had fried cabbage as a side one night. But
okay.
Yeah, so it's 2 tablespoons, and then you slice it up, dice it up however you want it, and then you just mash it with your hands for a few minutes, and you can start feeling the water release out of it. Nice. Once that starts happening, you start putting it in the jar and just mash it down with your fist, and it'll create more. So by the time you're finished putting the cabbage in there, if there's not enough liquid to cover it, you can add distilled water then.
Okay. Wow. That's
amazing. It's so easy.
That's amazing. So you're not adding liquid unless it needs it after the salt has drawn it out.
Exactly.
Cool.
And mine did need a little just to cover. I would say when I finished punching it down, I would say the liquid was about here.
Okay.
So you definitely want enough to go over it. So then I poured distilled water in there until it was covered. Then I put a whole cabbage leaf down and then the weight down.
Yeah. So
just set it on the counter in a nice cool spot in the kitchen and just let it sit. And after 7 days, you check it. Because you can smell it when it's starting to turn fermenting. You can smell it and you can taste it. And if it's where you want it to be, just put it right in the refrigerator. It'll last a year.
That's amazing.
I know.
It won't last a year around me. Not this.
No. Rick and I have been eating those fermented vegetables a little every night.
Good. Good. That's awesome.
Trying to fix that gut health.
Matthew actually brought me a new to me oven when he came 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because I know you remember, but when we moved in, they had this itty bitty little oven. Y'all,
It's
I'm
tiny.
a cook. It was so tiny. My
I was like, what are you going to do with that?
my oven pans didn't fit in it. It was crazy. So he's working on redoing his kitchen, and he had just gotten a new oven. And so he brought me his. He asked me if I wanted it. I was like, yes, I just need size. I don't want to spend money on anything right now.
Right.
And so now it also has a light inside, which the other one didn't. So I'm going to try, I haven't done it in a while, try to make my own yogurt again. I do it under the light of the oven instead of getting a yogurt maker. A lot of people don't think about that, but you only need it to be just a slight increase in temperature. Yeah. And the oven lights, you don't turn the oven on, but if you just turn the oven light on, that'll bring it up to about that 98 to 100 degrees if you're keeping the door closed, 95 degrees right in there. And it's a great method of making your own, if you're actually going to ferment your own yogurt. So nice. I'm going to do
that with herbs. You can, some delicate herbs, you can do that too, where it's not really heat, just the oven light is enough.
Yeah. Perfect.
If you lay them out on a sheet or whatever, and it's like, that's just enough. It's
perfect. Yeah. Which, speaking of which, before we get to the two that we were going to talk about today, you were harvesting some elderflower today.
I was, because, elderflower is so underrated because elderberries are so popular that you hardly ever hear anybody talk about the flower. Well, before the berries come in, they make these beautiful clusters of white flowers. I'll show you all a little tiny one.
I love that. I told Wendy it reminded me of baby's breath, putting it in, it needs to be in a bride's hair or something.
So I go out there with my bowl, and I'll pull it down and just shake it over the bowl, and they fall right in. Elderflower is just as medicinal as elderberries, and
in the same way.
All of the same properties. But to me, it makes a very good tea. The elderflowers makes an excellent tea.
Nice.
And now, if we have time at the end, we can go over more medicinal benefits of elderflower.
How would you compare the taste of the elderflower compared to the elderberry?
It's not as rich. It's light.
Okay.
It's light, a whole lot lighter, different, almost like you're having something completely different.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool. That's awesome.
I did notice on the Facebook watching, someone asked about Rachel asked about the names of the jars. You can look up fermentation lids. That's what they're called, fermentation lids.
Our Rachel?
Uh-huh.
She's watching live. Hi, girl.
We love you. We love you. And they were very, I want to say they were less than $20 for a set of 6 on like Amazon.
Love that. That's awesome.
It comes with the lid, everything you need.
Okay. I'm totally going to do that because I have not been fermenting like I should.
Me either. That's why I'm doing all these experiments, because I feel like I need more of it in my life. So the only way it's going to happen is if I just do it.
Yeah. Fermenting and sprouting. I mean, 2 great things that anybody can do in their kitchen and with so many health benefits.
Yes.
It's amazing. Yes. So, yeah. So are we talking about mallow first?
We're going to talk about mallow. And this one particularly, common mallow.
Okay.
Now, most of us are familiar with marshmallow.
Yes. Which, admittedly, because isn't it? There's also a marshmallow herb.
Yes.
So, and this is totally different.
Yes.
Because the very first time Wendy told me she was putting marshmallow in one of her teas or in a tincture or something, I don't remember what you were doing, and I was like, "Well, that's odd. That's a whole lot." Realized she meant an herb. I was totally lost.
Now,
a while ago.
the common mallow does carry a lot of the same medicinal properties as the marshmallow.
Okay.
And I've only grown marshmallow, and I've used the flower, the leaves, and the roots from the marshmallow. But I've never experienced common mallow. So this was kind of interesting for me because it does have a lot of the same properties as the marshmallow. So because it's high in the mucilage, because that's what the mallows are known for.
Yeah.
Now common mallow, from what I have found, grows a lot of places like the plantain and all of your dandelions, all your weeds. The common mallow is considered a weed. Okay. Yeah. So you wouldn't have to plant it. You could just forage for it or look for it in your area. High in mucilage, flavonoids, tannins, and other bioactive compounds. You can use the leaves, the flowers, and the roots, just like on the marshmallow.
Okay.
Soothes respiratory conditions because of the mucilage. The mucilage, what it does is like it puts a protective layer on things. It's kind of like that thickness. So it kind of layers over the mucous membranes. It makes it effective for relieving dry coughs, sore throats, bronchitis, and hoarseness. It acts as a demulcent, soothing irritated tissues in the respiratory tract. Teas or gargles are typically used with the common mallow. It also has digestive support. The mucilage soothes inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract, helping with things like gastritis, stomach ulcers, IBS, and constipation. It acts as a mild laxative, promoting regular bowel movements. And studies have shown that mallow extracts, which would be like your tincture, to be more effective than some conventional treatments for gastro issues, which I found interesting. And because of the mucilage and everything, that it just kind of soothes inflammation and calms things down.
It's really cooling and gentle.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, if you have a lot of problems with acid buildup, if you have a lot of problems with, it's really great if you have, if you're battling ulcers, things like that. It does a really good job on soothing and cooling.
Yeah, because it's almost like I always picture like slime just kind of covering, and it just kind of puts that covering over things where it was like it's red and irritated and angry. That covering comes down and just cools it and calms it and makes it smooth. Well, that's how I picture it in my head.
Yeah, think about it like a salve for your insides. I mean, you can't apply Wendy's amazing triple antibiotic ointment to your gut when you're having problems, but you can sure drink something like that and it will do that same type of thing and just
absolutely. And it's cool. I thought it was cool that it's a mild laxative too, because I mean, you can calm things down and move things out without, having to hang around to go to the bathroom all the time or waiting for that explosiveness. Is not going to happen like that.
In addition to it being a mild laxative, it's also a mild diuretic. So it's flushing both, in both ways. So, so that's good. Very
so
good.
I think of this whenever you have, the sore throat and the sickness and things like that. What a great herb for a tea, because you'll get the aromatherapy from it because it is a sweet, at least the marshmallow is. I'm assuming that the common mallow is the same way. But it has that sweet smell, so you're getting the aromatherapy and it's just kind of calming things down and moving things out.
Yes.
It's also anti-inflammatory and wound healing because of reducing inflammation in the mucous membranes, and aids in healing skin conditions such as eczema, acne, insect bites, and wounds. If used topically, it can speed healing and reduce swelling.
Interesting.
So it sounds like it might be another one of those great weed plants that you can use if you get any kind of stings or bites or anything while you're working outside.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
probably around.
You know what I noticed that I thought was interesting? I'm wondering if it's in the same family, and I don't know this to be the case. I need to do more research, but the leaves look so much like nasturtiums.
Oh,
They also, at least when we were foraging for them on Saturday,
okay.
so they remind me so much of nasturtium leaves, which are also edible. So I'm wondering if they're in the same family in some way.
That's interesting because you know, I keep nasturtium tincture on hand.
Okay.
And you know, when you eat nasturtium leaves, they taste like radishes.
They do. Flowers, the
Yes.
flowers. Bill and I were blown away when we got into watching The Lost Kitchen. You remember?
Yes, I love that show.
She grows all these daggone flowers, and all her salads are gorgeous because it's like, oh, I'm just going to throw this flower and this flower, and I'm like, I thought to go to my flower garden for my salad. I never would have.
Girl. I had my granddaughter Kaylee out in the yard the other day picking. She was picking bachelor buttons and borage and eating them.
Love it.
You can eat them. She's like, you can eat them? I'm like, you can. So she was like, okay.
Love it. I love it. But yeah, I've always grown a lot of nasturtiums because they're so good for pest control.
Yes.
And really good for the soil. So I've always grown them all around the garden and around the vegetable garden. And so when Bill and I found that out, the nasturtiums were so good for, salads and things like that. We go out there and we just start munching, and we're like, it's like radishes.
Yeah, I when I grow them, some of the leaves get so big that you can pick them and use them as a wrap.
Yes, yes. I actually was following somebody that was doing that. She was letting some of her plants grow really big, and she was using them for tuna wraps and stuff. I thought, how cool.
Well, when I first took a deep dive into nasturtiums, I was blown away. And that's why I always have nasturtium tincture on hand, because it's a natural antibiotic.
That's amazing. I didn't know that part. That's cool.
And so I will always have it on hand because you never know what you might need.
Yeah.
But what a great plant. And I think it's the spiciness of it that makes it such a great pest control in the garden.
That would make sense because they hate anything spicy. They hate cayenne. Yep. They hate any of those peppery, things or garlic or anything like that.
I don't know about you, but I've never had a problem with anything ever eating my radishes.
No. Maybe an occasional vole getting to them, vole, but I don't think they get far. I have a feeling they taste them and they're like, patooey,
Those little things, they don't care. They eat everything.
Yes, they do. Something else interesting that I found about the mallow, they're very, very high in vitamins A and C. So
that's what I was getting ready to say. The antioxidant properties, because they're rich in vitamin C, E, and A.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're just looking for, I tell people all the time, you don't have to rely on vitamins for these things. You can get enough vitamin A for sure in your diet. Vitamin C during high viral seasons, of course, supplement. But what a great thing to know that you can just eat a bunch of greens of all kinds.
That's right.
I mean, mix them into your salads. Get that spice. It's fun. It's fun to add and test things out like that.
Yes. I also found that mallow helps combat oxidative stress, protecting tissues, especially the liver, from free radical damage.
Nice.
These same properties may contribute to its potential anti-cancer effects, as shown in studies on mallow's cytotoxic activity against cancer cell lines. So I found 2 different studies on mallow in cancer.
Wow.
So that's interesting. And I love researching stuff like this, because when you start researching, different things will pop up for you to look at.
Yeah.
And you'll get to see what they're doing in the science part to try to connect everything and try to use the medicinal value of all of these plants and weeds.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Antimicrobial, antiviral. useful for preventing infections and wounds and supporting overall immune health, protecting against bacterial adhesion in the urinary tract, aiding in conditions like cystitis. So that goes right along with the diuretic, flushing things out.
For sure.
It is a mild analgesic, great for topical pain such as burns, rashes, headaches, bites. Great for skin and eye care. The emollient and hydrating properties of mallow make it effective for soothing dry, irritated skin and treating conditions like psoriasis and dermatitis. Mallow extracts are used in eye drops for dry or irritated eyes. I did not know that.
No, me either. That's interesting. Kirsty's battling a little bit of a dry patch under her eye. And I just told her the other day, I said, get you some castor oil, but I bet you a mixture of castor oil with that mallow would be.
That would probably be a great infusion, or even, I don't know. I always tend to go back to calendula for anything related to the eye, because I've had such great luck with pink eye. Curing pink eye right up and things like that. So that tends to be calendula, because it's so easy to grow. That kind of tends to be my fallback on for any kind of skin things. Sure.
No, that makes sense.
And it's so gentle enough that you can use it as an eye wash, or, take the flowers and bunch them up and put them right on the skin. It's not going to burn anything. It's not going to hurt anything.
That's awesome. Well,
I have for mallow.
I
wish I had a show and tell, but I don't.
I know. I didn't grab any either. And I don't know that I found it in our yard here yet. I'm bound to have it.
I was looking ever since we made this list of what we wanted to talk about a couple weeks ago. And I've been looking, and I don't have any around.
She had a ton.
She had a
ton.
Okay.
Over in her section near where the cows usually are, like where the cow stalls are. And I said, they must like cow patties.
Right. And maybe that's the case,
They're well fertilized. She had a ton of it. I did, as far as uses go, the only other thing that I did see, other than what you've already talked about, well, the flowers can be used as an edible garnish, fresh leaves in spring salads. Add to soups and lightly sauteing them is actually supposed to be really good. Nice. And then we talked about infusing for the cooling tea for digestive upset or mild UTI. So pretty much everything you just said.
So it sounds like a great herb for whether you want a tea, whether you want an infusion, whether you want to make a salve, whether you want to make a tincture. Sounds like it's great for all of that. And leaves, flowers, roots, the whole plant.
Yeah.
I love plants like that where you can just use it all.
Yeah. It's so multi-purpose. It's like, well, I know mallow does just about everything, so let's just throw it at it.
But yet it's gentle too.
Yeah.
So you don't have, and not, more times than not with those gentle herbs like that, you don't have to worry about people having reactions to them.
Right.
So it's a safe bet to say, hey, go try this.
Yeah. Those are the ones that Wendy and I would encourage y'all to experiment with. Any
absolutely.
of those that are non-toxic and don't have a lot of, worry behind, what you're using. As opposed to something like, I know at one point she and I were trying to figure out what we were going to do with all my lily of the valley. And while it's great, in small doses, that's not one of those things that I would tell the beginning forager, hey, just go make up a whole bunch of lily of the valley stuff, because there's a very fine line there on how you can use it safely and then how it can become toxic. And so, but mallow is one of those, along with quite a few that we talk about, that you can't screw it up. You can't screw it up.
But I'm not a doctor, and I don't play one on here either.
You hear that, YouTube?
So please do your own research and talk to your primary care physician before starting any herbs.
Yes. Oh my word.
Sorry, you guys. That's for YouTube.
Yes. This is what we've come to, because goodness knows if Manuka honey is considered the devil, Lord have mercy. All these wonderful things we find out in our yard has got to be, you know.
Oh, the weeds will get us banned.
Yes, forever. We'll get a lifetime ban. Oh my goodness.
Let's talk about rosemary.
Yeah.
Everybody's familiar with rosemary, I would think, just for culinary purposes, right? Mm-hmm. Well, rosemary, very fragrant and has a tremendous amount of health benefits. Mm-hmm. Cognitive health being the main one. Okay. May improve memory and concentration. Studies suggest its compounds like carnosic acid protect brain cells from oxidative stress, potentially benefiting conditions like Alzheimer's. Inhaling rosemary aroma has been linked to enhanced cognitive performance. So now, not only just taking rosemary, eating rosemary, drinking rosemary tea, but also just the smell of rosemary, which is amazing.
I love it.
Yes, I do too. It has high antioxidant properties, like rosmarinic acid. Am I saying that right, Wendy?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Rosemary helps neutralize free radicals, reducing oxidative stress and inflammation, which may lower the risk of chronic diseases. Anti-inflammatory, potentially helping with conditions like arthritis, muscle pain when it's used topically or consumed in a tea or in meals. I would think it would have to be a very high content in meals to get the benefit of that, though.
Yeah.
Rosemary is good for digestive health by stimulating bowel production and reducing indigestion, bloating, stomach cramps. This would be used in a tea or as a culinary spice for this purpose. Great for hair and scalp health. It promotes hair growth, reduces hair loss, improves scalp health. This you can do. What's best for this, I found, is what I like to call a rosemary rinse, where you just infuse the rosemary. You can do it in oil. I like to do it just in water and heat it up, not too high of a temperature, but just mildly heated to enough to where it's, the rosemary is releasing the medicinal properties, and use it as a rinse on your hair. Rub it into your scalp and all around. It feels amazing. Makes your hair smell good. So you can use it like just a rinse at the end of your shower or whatever.
I wonder if that would work also with apple cider vinegar, with raw apple cider vinegar.
You know what? I don't see why not. That would, yeah. I don't see why not.
Because raw apple cider vinegar alone as a rinse is an incredible conditioner.
So yeah, definitely do a rosemary infused apple cider vinegar. That's probably amazing. Oh, we're gonna have to experiment with that.
We're gonna have to try that.
I always forget about all the medicinal properties of apple cider vinegar.
No, imagine the two powerhouses together on your hair. Lemongrass Spa, Sheila, if any of my friends are looking for really good skincare, hair care products, there's several out there I like, but one that I really, really love is Lemongrass Spa. And I have a dear friend, Sheila, who is a consultant for them, but they have a rosemary shampoo bar. Oh, nice. It's fantastic. I love that. I never thought I would like using a bar on my head. I thought that was so weird.
It's funny you do that. I just got my first shampoo bar from Azure Standard from a small farm.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never thought that a little tiny bar would soap up, lather up that much,
right,
and feel great on my hair.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sold. Now I just want to know how to make it myself.
Yes, for sure. That's what I was thinking. I was like, there's got to be a way we can do that. Absolutely. Cool.
Okay, so that was for hair and scalp.
Okay.
Let's see. Antimicrobial properties. natural antibacterial, antifungal, antiviral, which may help fight infections, or preserve food. When you use rosemary extract with food things, it has been known to preserve the food, which I found that amazing. I did not know that. That was a new tip for me. So I might have to deep dive into that a little bit more.
Yeah. Look at a number of the healthier packaged foods that are on the market are using rosemary extract.
Nice.
As their preservatives. As a matter of fact, even, I mean, I want to say it was like a chicken sausage or something that I got that was organic, no added, no antibiotics.
Rosemary extract in it.
And they use rosemary extract.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do a little deep dive on that, because I wonder how we can utilize that in our home preservation.
Yeah, in what we preserve. That's absolutely a great idea. I bet we could easily research what they're doing to make that extract. I mean, just
even like because I know that I make like face serums and things like that, and I mean, when you're working with oils and things, they have a shelf life, especially once they hit air and you make something with them. But in order to make them last a little bit longer to where you'll use it before you're out of it, I use vitamin E for things like that. But if rosemary extract works for food preservation, I'm definitely interested in finding more about that.
Yeah, most definitely.
Absolutely. Helps with, because it's high in antioxidants and anti-inflammatories, it may strengthen the immune system, helping the body resist infections and stress. It's also good for heart health and circulation, by reducing blood pressure and improving vessel function. Although I'm being told that more research is needed.
Hey, that is just like us saying we're not doctors.
That's right.
That's your medical doctor anyway.
The aromatherapy from rosemary may reduce anxiety and stress, promoting relaxation and mental clarity. So it's not only good, I love the thought of making a rosemary tea, and every tea that you make, you should enjoy the aroma of it, because that's kind of a medicine too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see. Skin health. Topical rosemary oil or extracts may improve skin conditions like acne or eczema due to its antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties. You can add fresh rosemary in culinary form to dishes like meats, soups, roasted vegetables, the aromatherapy, the tea, the rinses, the infusions, the extracts or tinctures. Excessively, though, rosemary could cause upset stomach, or some people would have an allergic reaction to it at high doses. Any rosemary oil should be diluted to avoid irritation, because in high doses, the raw oils can be very potent directly on the skin.
Yeah. So something like a sweet almond or a fractionated coconut oil or something.
Yes, just kind of mix it with something,
some kind of
what I call base oil, whether it's coconut oil or jojoba oil or castor oil. Castor oil is so good for so many things.
Yes.
What do you have on rosemary?
Let's see here. I do have it. That it can be infused in olive oil or vinegar. One of the most recommended medicinal forms on this was to brew it as a tea with lemon and honey for mental focus.
Nice.
Which you had mentioned, but I thought that combination just sounds so good.
Yes.
And then add it to roasted veggies, chicken, salad dressings. Use it as a scalp rinse. It says the same thing, but one thing that I did want to say, I've diffused it before, which is fine for brief periods. Don't do it if you have cats. That's one of those that, to me, any of the ones, the good culinary herbs like oregano, thyme, rosemary. They've got a lot of good properties if you diffuse, but you do not want to diffuse them around cats.
Yeah,
I'm assuming
they're
dogs
very
do.
strong. Those particular ones are very strong.
Yeah. So, but I know that a lot of those herbs, like you talked about the immune boosting, I will diffuse those, shut it in a room away from the animals if somebody is at home sick in the bed,
Yes.
So
yeah, because if you diffuse those in their room, man, that's a heavy dose of medicine.
Yeah.
To get them back on their feet quick.
For sure. Girl, that's good stuff.
Yes, it is. Well, we will table elderflower. I'll have that information for you guys next week. And I'd also like to talk next week about yarrow.
Oh, okay.
Because yarrow is coming up now, and she will start showing herself majorly in the next few weeks. So we'll talk about that. I'll have a little show. My flowers aren't blooming yet. They're just starting to bud, but I can at least show you guys the leaves and things like that and what to look for, because yarrow she's amazing.
Very, very.
Y'all, I probably say that about every herb, but that's okay.
Yeah. You fall in love with your herbs, girl. That's why you do what you do. I love it. I've learned so much from you because of your passion. And that's what I love. It's like, you learn to, I'll tell you what's so fun about the natural health space is that there's so many lanes you can be in. You hear people use that term, stay in your lane. There is no need to stay in your lane. You can
don't stay in your lane. Let's swerve all over the place.
People look like drunk drivers, all over the place. I do not advocate that. No. I'm just being funny about that. But
I was thinking bumper cars.
Yes, bumper cars. That's much nicer than saying drunk drivers. Yes, please. No, I always felt like I needed to just stay right here in my little nutrition box because that's what I know so well. But wow, what a disservice. You know
so much more than you think you do.
Well, and I got a lot of the education, on herbalism and aromatherapy and all of that kind of stuff in my doctorate, but you still stick to what you are super comfortable in. Yeah. And so
if it has to do with food or oils, I'm calling you.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I've become lazy about those things because I'm like, well, I don't need to know it. I'm just going to call Wendy. Wendy's going to call me about nutrition.
What I'm here for.
Yeah. Wendy's going to call me.
I'll have questions. Just send me a message.
Right.
People do it to me all the time, and I love it. If I can answer a question, I'm going to answer your question.
Exactly. But no, I have been really intentionally trying, especially things around my yard and stuff like that I really just want to know more about.
Yeah, you get to know what's around you and then pay attention to what pops up that you've never seen before, because a lot of times that's God's way of saying, hey, you need this.
Yeah. We talked about that last week about some experiences we had with that. That's pretty wild.
And I love that because it makes you mindful of what's around you.
Yeah.
And it does make you kind of research, hey, how can I use this? Like the lily of the valley. I had no clue. I don't have any around me.
I never had any idea. And it gives you such a better appreciation for your yard than just calling everything a weed and it being something you have to mow down.
Yeah.
I love knowing that I have got so many medicines and so many great, foods and all kinds of things available. Yes. If y'all are hearing banging, my son is on the last day of this deck, and it's just
go Matthew.
It's like normally I'd be trying to shush everything around me, but let's be real. No. He's ready to get back to Tennessee.
I think I've heard my dog bark, the toilet flush. If y'all have heard it too, welcome to my house.
Right. We're very real and authentic. We aren't in a studio doing all this and filtering it for you guys.
Yeah, Wendy's in Gettysburg and Pennsylvania, and I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Yep. What you see is what you get right here with us. So are you done with Rosemary before I jump into what I discovered this week? So, one of the things I teach my clients is on time restricted eating and the benefits of fasting and things like that. And I experienced something in the last week that was really profound that I just had to share. So, since my son's been here, he's a breakfast eater. He's a type 1 diabetic. He, needs to eat, certain
he has to eat breakfast, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he really needs to. And especially because he also goes to the gym. I mean, even here, he got a 1-month gym membership while he was here. He's not going to stop. So meanwhile, he's lifting all this heavy stuff out here. Why he needed a gym. But anyway, mama not judging. I'm proud.
He's got his routine.
He does. And because of that routine, and I love to cook for him, I've been cooking 3 meals a day for him. He's been getting breakfast, lunch, and supper every single day. And I don't usually eat breakfast, but because I've been doing this with him, I've been eating breakfast, and it's been healthy. It's nothing that I wouldn't, encourage anybody else to eat. But it was really fascinating to me because when I moved in, I've shared on this podcast a couple of times that I've had a lot of pain, that I was shocked. I mean, this move has really humbled me. I'm telling you, I've lived on a single level for so long, and I have to go up and down and up and down. I mean, the bulk of our house is on top of a raised, what I would call a raised, basement foundation. It's not your typical basement where you walk into the main level and the basement's under you. It is, everything is you have to get upstairs too. So at first,
steps too.
The steps that were built are not code. Just telling you, they're not. My son, who is very well aware of code because that's what he does for a living, he was like, nuh-uh, the steps I put on this deck are going to be a lot better for you, mama, because these others are crazy big and steep. So, and they're old, so it is what it is. But so the first 2 weeks I blamed my aches and pains on, well, my goodness, I'm not used to all these stairs. I've been moving, carrying heavy stuff up and down the steps and everything. And so I made that as an excuse, and it was a valid one. But then when you get into week 3 and you get into week 4 and I can't get up because my back's hurting and I'm struggling to, put my socks on because I can't bend over and I'm having all these aches and pains in my legs. This is not normal for me, though my diagnosis would tell me that it should be very normal, right? Because of, for those who are watching and have never heard me talk about it, I was in a bad car wreck when I was 19, have severe arthritis as a result, and I would be in a wheelchair if it wasn't for how I eat. So pain is not something I'm unaccustomed to.
Yes.
This level of pain over the last 6 weeks is a very uncommon for me because of how well I take care of myself. So anyway, I just thought it was really odd. And I started thinking about, okay, what in my routine has changed? And that was the one thing I could really pinpoint, was that I haven't been fasting my normal 16 to 18 hours. I've been for sure doing 12, but I haven't been pushing it to 16, 18 hours like I normally do. And it's not a push for me. It's just my norm. I get up, I get rolling on my day, and next thing I know, I realize it's 1 o'clock and I haven't eaten. And that's just my day. I just, So the first day, I told myself, you know what, let me try going back to my 16, 18 hours, and I'll just make him breakfast and I'll sit down with him and have my coffee or my tea, and I'll just, I won't eat. Girl, my pain was gone. Day one. And then I said, okay, well, let me test this again. And after 3 days of feeling a lot better, I decided to have breakfast with him. Pain by the end of the day. And it doesn't necessarily hit me right off. It's more later, in the day. And I found that really odd because usually it reminded me of what you hear about when people are doing 24 to 72 hour fasts, water fasts for the autophagy effect, which I'll explain in a second. But I started looking, and with certain people, autophagy can start sooner than that 24 hours. And so you really need to find where that sweet spot is for you.
Yeah.
And just to understand what autophagy is, our bodies go through a process when you are allowing it that rest period, where basically your cells, all of there's a breakdown and they recycle. Okay. So any kind of the damaged or unnecessary parts of these fractured cells that we get, I mean, our cells regenerate every 90 days. Certain cells, it's every 5 or 6 weeks. So you always have little cell fragments hanging out. Somebody like me with a lot of scar tissue probably has an elevated amount of that. So the only thing I could figure is my body was probably starting to go into autophagy when I gave it the 18 hours so it could start gobbling up the stuff that was causing me pain. And girl, I was always a believer, but I'm telling you guys, if you have chronic pain, first of all, I see you. I know how miserable it is, but consider if you don't fast 12 hours, please, 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 everybody that is hearing my voice,
should be doing at least 12.
That should be your norm, is 12 hours.
12 is so easy for most everybody, 12 hours.
Stop eating at 7 and don't eat again until 7 a.m. That part's easy. But if you have chronic pain and you are somebody who typically fasts for 12 hours and you recognize that you still have this chronic pain, test that.
Yeah.
Test that and push it out longer. I am so blown away with the results I got on day 1 of me going back to my norm that next week I'm going to do a full water fast. My plan is 72 hours. We'll see how I do. I've done it before, but it's just, I've got to mentally be ready.
Yeah. And if you're going to do that next week, maybe we can challenge each other and do it together.
Yeah, I love that.
Only because it's so interesting that you wanted to talk about this, because over the weekend I was reading a study on the effects of a 72-hour fast. Because of my dear friend with her cancer diagnosis. Yes. I am researching all kinds of things that I may be able to help her. So this study was showing that after 72 hours, because of what you were talking about, how the cells break down and flush and everything kind of regenerates. It gives your body almost like a restart or reset. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, wow, maybe she needs to do this.
Yeah.
So, anything that, and I myself have never done 72 hours. So it will be a challenge for me, but I would never ask her to do something that I've never done.
Amen. You're exactly right. And what a great friend you are to support her in this, because it's very challenging. I will say the fact that she's Christian, you're Christian, I'm Christian. Remember where we get our strength from, because that is one of the things I love most about fasts. And I don't do it, I don't do it as often as probably I should. But when I'm really struggling with something spiritually, that's when, you can get so much clarity.
Yes. Clarity, definitely.
And just, breakthroughs happen when you're stressing your body. And it's really not, it is, but it's a natural stressor. If you think about the way we were created, people weren't running around with tons of food. This whole garbage of us grazing, being healthy, that is not normal. Centuries ago, millenniums ago, people didn't just have this massive abundance of food like we have. So fasting was a normal everyday occurrence for people. They might eat 1 meal a day. They might go a couple days and not eat. And our bodies are created to be able to tolerate that. And it's actually part of our detoxification process. One of the reasons that we have so much disease today, in addition to, how I am about processed foods and all the garbage we put on our bodies, but it is also because we are overabundant with our consumption. And we don't give our bodies a chance to rest and heal. And that isn't just taking a nap, y'all. That's giving your whole body rest from digestion and everything. And so, it's It's powerful medicine. And I was just blown away by one day after 6 weeks. I mean, I've been walking around here like, oh my gosh, I'm going to live in this home for 9-10 years. And how am I going to be at 60?
Right.
I'm already walking around here like I'm 102, and holding my back and walking around. I'm like, what is happening to me? And so for that to be that significant of an impact in one day,
that's amazing. That is amazing.
So
I do notice that, because I'm not always able to go 16 to 18 hours, just depends. But I do feel better when I go 16 to 18 versus 12.
Yeah.
And some days I'm just hungry, so I don't push myself to go to the 16, 18, but I'm like you. I get up, I get going. Next thing you know, it's 1 o'clock.
As long as I've had my coffee and my tea and I've got things to drink, I don't even think about being hungry. And you bring up a good point. One of the things about fasting, now what we don't want to do, fasting is great for cortisol. Fasting can also be horrible for cortisol. You got to find that balance. You don't want your cortisol levels. Now, this is different than the 24 to 72 hour fast I'm talking about. This is a once in a while thing. You go, your multiple days, you allow that detoxification process. Yep, your cortisol levels might be challenged during that time. That is a once in a while thing. I'm talking now daily. I'm stepping back into the daily time restricted eating, time restricted
eating. Yes.
That I need you to know that you got to listen to your body. Don't just set a timer and say, oh, I'm going to go 18 hours today. You need to listen to your body. Yes. Your body will tell you how long you should be going. And if you push it past misery, your cortisol level is going to soar. Okay. So if at 14 hours, you're going, I'm going to eat my arm off, eat, make 12 your hard and fast rule. But if you end up, really, once you get used to it, you'll be blown away how long you can go. And it's a lot easier than it sounds. But if you are at 12 hours telling yourself, oh, well, I'm eating because I'm supposed to eat, try and go longer. You don't have to eat at 12 hours. I'm just telling you that,
that's minimal. 12 is minimum.
Yeah. 12 is minimum. And so that's how you find that sweet spot. There are some days when I get to 4 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm fixing supper and I start munching on carrots because I'm hungry, but I didn't think about it all day. That's not an everyday thing for me, but as long as you're hitting that, and I really do believe, I know I've been doing this 12 hours with him. My problem is I've been doing 12 hours every day for these few weeks, or for a couple weeks of it. And it was not good for me.
Yeah. It's not enough for you. Your body needs more.
Yes. So for me to push it, I say push it. It's not pushing it. It's my norm to go to 16, 18 hours. It made all the difference in the world. So just listen to your body. Yes. You don't want to be counterproductive with it. But that being said, the other kind of fasting we were talking about with the 24 to 72 hours, pray through it, y'all, because it's not easy at first. I find day one is actually the hardest. Whereas, after that, it's like, I'm good, And you can drink herbal tea. That always makes it so much easier for me. I'll drink my weight in peppermint tea just because it gives me that flavor, even though I love water, but it gets boring after a couple of days if that's all you're having. So
yeah. Well, we'll have to talk more about that.
We will.
Challenging each other for the 72-hour fast, because I definitely feel like I need it before I can recommend it to someone else.
Yeah.
I need to complete it first. It probably would help me out a lot spiritually, because I don't do any kind of fast like that unless it's spiritually first.
Yeah,
because that's the only way I know I'm going to get through it.
He's the only way I could get through it too. I love food too much.
Exactly.
But I know it'll help. I know it'll benefit so much. So why don't we plan on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Because we will be talking to people on day 3.
Okay.
of it, and just
you can see how angry or not angry we are.
You're used to us being all laughy and boisterous and all this. You're gonna tune in next week, and we're gonna
I'll be like
we're gonna have our sourpuss faces and be all hangry. No,
no.
No, that'll be cool. That's what we're gonna do next week. So y'all have to tune in next week and see how we've done.
All right. So between now and Monday, we get our minds right.
Yep. Start talking to God now. He'll help us.
That's right.
Oh, girl. All righty. Well, what you got going on this week?
I am picking the stuffing out of blackberries.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, and I have been neglectful because I put them all out there as babies and never went out there and trellised them. So they are wild and all over the place. So I have recruited Rick to help me trellis them this weekend, even though that doesn't seem to be hurting the harvest as of right now, but there's all kinds of new growth coming in, and I don't want it to get to where I can't even walk through it.
Yes.
So that is on my plan for this week, along with harvesting more lavender, lemon balm, oregano, thyme. I have all the things coming in right now, so that, my perennials.
Yes.
And we made a little progress in the new garden space, or the olden garden space that I'm trying to redo, that's given a rest. So we got the 3 out of 4 of the old boxes out of there, cut down and out of there. So slow and steady progress forward. How about you? What you got going on?
Well, I'm hoping to get at least some vegetables planted on my property. I'm actually considering, because it's taken me way too long to get these raised beds done like I had hoped. Yeah. So I'm actually considering our sweet neighbor with a tractor, he's already plowed up one patch for me that I did, but I might get him to plow up a section for me just so I can get some vegetables in the ground, because I hate not having any.
Yes.
So I'm planning on doing that. Also, Sunday. So, Matthew and I say Matthew and I, Bill hasn't been with me yet, but hopefully he will get a chance this weekend, found us a new church in our area that's only 2 miles from our house.
Oh, yay.
It is absolutely amazing. I mean, I could go on, and I won't do that in essence of time, but this coming Sunday, they're doing a celebration Sunday.
Oh, nice.
And so there's going to be a bunch of baptisms, and then they're doing a big pig roast. They're doing a blessing of the bikes.
Oh, nice.
So all the way from little kids' tricycles all the way up to motorcycles, and they're doing a motorcycle run, which I am not doing, but I will be glad to bless. I'll participate in the blessing.
I will be up in it.
I know you would. And then there's gonna be a band and just all this food, and so I'm gonna really try and just enjoy the day, and because I haven't allowed myself since we've moved to just chill,
because you've been crazy busy.
Yeah. Yes. So hoping to do that, hoping to get my mama over there for at least part of it, so she can enjoy the sunshine and
start making some friends and getting to know people in your community. I love it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the big stuff happening this week. I do have these 2 more cabinets to put together. Wait there.
Is it going to rain tomorrow there? I think it's going to rain here tomorrow.
It might start later in the day, I believe. Okay. And so that might be a good time for me to do it. But yeah,
look at me planning your rain days.
I know. No, you're not wrong. That's when I need to be doing it. So, but yeah, no, we're making progress. We're getting a lot done around here, and y'all just keep our home in your prayers, and to keep peace and just keep all the goodness going, and get my mom settled, because it's so hard when God love her. And on top of the dementia, she's legally blind. So she already needs her routine for her to know where to find things, you know, and with not having the eyesight or her memory, it's very frustrating for her. And it doesn't have anything to do with the frustration for me that I'm even worried about. It's for her that I worry about. I'm more frustrated at the situation, and I just want to, you know, I want to
get things stable. Yeah, I get it. So, well, I'll definitely be praying for both y'all. I
appreciate that.
Definitely.
But all is going to go well. And with our fast, God's going to help me work through that too. So
that's right. That's right. We're going to put it all out there.
Yep.
Pull it all out there.
Yep. Exactly. Oh, I do want to share too. I've got a fly flying around me now. Next week is the launch week of our meal prep delivery service. I do have a couple of spots still open for next week. I'm only taking 10 people a week. If you are interested, you've got to let me know if you want to get in on the launch special price. And that's just for our 5 counties that we are closest to. So or if you're coming, I have somebody who's coming up from Richmond 1 week during the summer to visit Gettysburg. And so she's ordered.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, I'm taking reservations for the whole summer. And, but if you are local and you want us to deliver to your home, it's York and Adams County in Pennsylvania, and it's Carroll, Baltimore, and Frederick counties in Maryland. And if you aren't far outside of that and you want to meet in there at a drop-off point, we're happy to do that too. Or you can come to the farm or, you know, to the homestead. Yeah, we're excited. So definitely let us know how we can support you. And no, I'll put that off for next week. I did a gallbladder detox with somebody this week, and I'm so excited.
Now, was this the apple one?
Yeah.
Did you do that again? The same?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we had such good results. I love natural healing.
Yes.
It's like maybe $20 worth of products, and it saved her possibly thousands of dollars and losing an organ.
Yep.
Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Y'all, natural health is amazing, but
yes, it is. I'm going to tell you what, God made everything perfectly, and he gave us everything that we need. Never forget that.
Correct. All right. You guys have an amazing week. Appreciate everybody tuning in. I do love these midday. We might just have to switch to midday.
I know, right?
I love mornings, but boy, we sure do I feel like we reach more people in the middle of the day. So it might be fun. Anyway, we'll table that. We'll table that.
Rigid flexibility.
We're getting loud in here now. Listen to that. All right, time to sign off. Love you guys. Have a great week.